Hello, my viewers. Today I am here to talk about Godzilla 2014. Okay. My opinions on this film? It's great! It's a good film, and it shows a lot of respect to the big G. And this review might be will be filled with spoilers. So just go out and see the movie. And if you're a hardcore Godzilla fan, you've already watched it. So now time to give my thoughts. One thing that a lot of people have been complaining about with this new film is that when they cut to the news about Godzilla just fighting, to like news footage of Godzilla fighting Muto, that's extremely infuriating and irks. Like, bait, well, screw you, you're not getting it. Well, here's the thing. I've thought about it, and pretty much every Godzilla film has done that. Well, at least the good ones. The only ones that didn't have the suspense, which was the teasing, was that the only films from the Godzilla franchise that didn't have the teasing or suspense were either the shitty ones or the ones that had plots that didn't demand. So most of the films pretty much do have that, and it's best to keep tradition with Godzilla. And okay, the effects are good. They're definitely pretty good. I mean, this is the first time Godzilla has ever been animated in CGI. Okay, not that. The first time he ever was in Godzilla 2000, I think, or maybe Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, considering that it showed underwater shots of Godzilla and CGI that they looked like shit. Okay. Besides the point. Just a second. Oh. As I was saying, the effects in the film are pretty good. And my thoughts on the new monster Muto. Muto is a pretty good creature. Most sense I get from Muto is that he and she, yes, there are two Mutos, is that they're kind of like Orga, but an insect. The face that the Mutos have does look a bit similar to Orga to me personally. And I do also like Muto's design, with him looking a bit, having elements of the Cloverfield monster. And also the fact that the male Muto can fly and the female one's pretty damn huge is pretty awesome. And maybe okay. And Godzilla himself. He is badass, and he is completely what Godzilla should be. An allegory for nuclear... Okay, he's not an allegory for nuclear weapons, because... God, that message has been crammed in. But I have to say, Godzilla is like the way he should be. An anti-hero. He's willing to save the Earth, but he doesn't give two shits about humanity. Do you know what we are to Godzilla? Ants. We're freaking ants. We're tiny, insignificant bugs that he wouldn't mind squashing. So, yeah, that's the way Godzilla is in this film, and thank heaven that's a part of his character trait. And another thing is that Godzilla also has atomic breath. I love that his atomic breath actually looks like fire. Like, when he breathes, it actually looks like he's breathing fire, which is pretty damn awesome. And the fact that Godzilla is definitely awesome in this movie. And the bridge scene is also pretty cool. What else? Yeah, yeah, as you could tell, I'm not exactly in very fit condition. So, what else? I have to say the acting to the film, other than Bryan Cranston, most of the time it's kind of dull. But dull is not very bad, and even then, the dullness isn't. It only comes when the actors are being serious in the more lighthearted moments, like that's actually good. But Bryan Cranston completely steals the show with his performance. I think that probably the movie's biggest flaw would have to be the fact that the first third is a bit too dramatic. With it being so dramatic with Bryan Cranston's performance, it makes the later half feel okay. No, you don't have to scratch that. And yeah, Quentin Watanabe, who plays Dr. Shirazawa, God, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But hey, it's a name from Japan. I live in America. They're two completely different countries. But yeah, in terms of acting, Quentin Watanabe and Bryan Cranston are the best actors in the movie. Kick-Ass himself, Aaron Taylor Johnson's also good. Well, at least when he's like with his family being emotional. Other times he's kind of deadpan, but from what I heard, a lot of military people in real life are actually kind of like that, but or at least some of them. So I guess it fits. And one other thing I realized when watching this film is how much Godzilla isn't given a huge amount of focus in all his films. It actually made me think about that because looking at the entire Godzilla series, Godzilla has never had more screen time than the human characters. And the biggest flaw with most of the human characters in these Godzilla films is that they're mostly poorly written. And yes, that is the case for a lot of them, but but the first and second film are two examples of the characters being well written. And what else? Is that okay? Now the review is pretty much done with Godzilla, but in my opinion, it's a good film, and you should go watch it. And if you're a huge G fan, you've already seen it. But now this is going to talk about my opinions on Godzilla as a character. Godzilla as a character to me is an awesome secondary character. That's what Godzilla is. Godzilla is never our main character. He was never meant to be the main character. Godzilla was always intended to be the secondary character. But the reason why we often view him as a kind of main character is because of how badass and awesome he is. Then again, who's not awesomed by a giant radioactive dinosaur? And yeah, Godzilla is okay. Maybe that's all I have to say. Goodbye, my viewers. And this review probably went on a bit too long. But just go see the Godzilla movie. It's worth your time and money. And thankfully they are going to make a sequel, according to what I heard. And Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers, if you are watching this, next time you make the Godzilla film, can you please put in a bit more fighting? I mean, I don't want to sound like I hate the film or that I wanted it to be Pacific Rim. No, God no. Pacific Rim is its own thing. Godzilla is also its own thing. Just please let there be a bit more action with the next one. I'm not saying Godzilla is bad. It's just it could have used a bit more action with its action scenes. But even then, what we got was pretty awesome. See you, my viewers, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And tomorrow, I go back to school.